Well, hello, I'm Mike Festiva. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to cover the building of a $100 pole shed. So the whole entire 12 by 16 pole shed I built with a bunch of salvage material for $100 or under, and that even includes the gravel for the floor in here. So in this video, we're also going to be featuring the Sawmill, which I haven't used in my videos in a long time. You can see a lot of this equipment running. You even see a little glimpse or two of the old Yanmar I still have around. So if you're interested in how I built this, it should be a pretty good video, and hey, maybe it'll inspire you to build something like this. So stick around, enjoy the video. So first off is site preparation, moving some of the stuff around here. This log we're actually going to move over. It's going to be used a little bit later in the video to cut a bunch of board and batten siding. This whole embankment needs to be cut back quite a bit. I've cut probably 25 yards or so off of it, and I'm working on a roadway down here where I'm taking this material. And then the other stuff I'm just filling out and terracing over in this location. I actually added so much room up by my mill. It's pretty awesome. So the good thing about being on the hillside when you terrace is you expand some level ground. And so yeah, I'm cutting through here. This section I'm digging into right there has a lot of chunky like shale rock. I'm actually using that for a little road bed for this road for hauling logs through here. Here the embankment got so hard cutting back that I couldn't really do much more with the skid steer, so I'm just moving loose material with it. They're really not great for cutting super hard material. You can, but it seems a little harder on the machine. So getting out the mini excavator and cutting the embankment back with the ripper tine that I have is a good way to go. This is like early mid-October. It was pretty dry still on the ground, and the embankment was really hard. Here I got the wider bucket. I'm just kind of getting most of this embankment cut back to where I need it to be. And I'm just using this bucket to scrape away the edge at the base, make a nice another pile to haul off with the skid steer. And I'm trying to round over the top of the embankment because this stuff holds up pretty well around my environment. It doesn't slough off too much, but I just want to take the top edge down and round it a little bit, make it look a little bit more natural. It never really will be, but just take off that top edge and kind of curve it over. It's got one more pile of stuff to move and about done with the excavation. Finally got this embankment excavated back how I want. Cut the topsoil off a little bit on the top. This stuff doesn't slide much. I have embankments around here that were cut probably back in the 70s from previous owner, and they're still pretty solid. I mean, it's like clay shale combo, and it just holds really well. So I'm going to put a little pole structure here. So last time, no, 6-10 bucket, something like that with the skid steer. Get all this dirt moved. We probably got 3 yards to move there, and can start getting the auger out and boring some holes for some posts. So this last big push on the terrace, I got a lot done. So cutting back this embankment, moving, like I said, 25 yards maybe or so, right there, all that's been filled in, a good 6 or 8 feet out and about 20 feet wide. All this whole hillside's been terraced over the years, but with the better machines I have, the quicker pace, it's becoming a lot easier to do this kind of terracing. Now I have never ran one of these augers before, but I got a project to help a friend where I'm going to be running a bunch of holes with it. But I think regular soil is going to be fine, but I really have a hard time believing it's going to go through this stuff. So this is going to be hopefully not a torture test. But as you guys saw, I had to use the ripper tine to cut through a lot of this. We're already like 4 feet below grade, and it's really hard clay and shale. So here's a little example to show how hard the ground is right now when it's dry. This is a 14-inch spike I'm going to be using later as the pole barn structure. And to get the spike back out, I had to hit it numerous times back and forth to kind of loosen up the soil, if you want to call it that, that clay, shale, compact mix. It's nasty stuff and hard when it's dry.
Oh my God, watch it dig. Look at that digging.
So it was kind of time racing against the clock in these fall short days. I was working, trying to get all these things wrapped up, and even got the lights on this machine to finish up this project because I was racing the clock. There was a few inches of rain coming the next few days, and I just want to get these done before I turned it into a mud pit. I found that this one was maxing out on some gnarly shale rock, and it was just powder coming out of there. Wouldn't dig in anymore. I put a gallon of water in each hole and let it sit for about 10 minutes, and yeah, it's going pretty good. I would say that's the technique. I'm gonna call it good for the night, but start on this tomorrow, hopefully get some posts up. Sure enough, it rained the night before, so instead of getting out and running the machines in the morning and making more mud on site, decided to put one of those logs on the mill and mill some posts. I also had a few posts sitting in the back part of my cut pile, so before I get any posts up, got to get them all milled first. I guess you guys probably haven't seen this machine in a long time, and some of my new subscribers, just to let you know, I built this thing from scratch. It's been a great mill for the last 10, 12 years. So I was racing the rain the other night when I was augering these, hoping that I could beat it. Just too many other things came up, and so we got some rain and continue for the next week of rain. So I'm gonna re-auger these a little bit more, but this ground is instantly turned to nasty soft clay, so it's just gonna make a mess of the machines and everything I do. I think what I'm gonna come in here and do is scrape all this soft stuff off the surface here from the auger, get it out of here. Probably need to bring in some 1¼ inch gravel because this work site is just going to be completely nasty to work on. Auger a little bit more, take this off. I might need to load another log on the mill, cut some more beams or some posts I'm in, and yeah, see how far we can get. Well, got those holes dug. Unfortunately, I barely moved the machine, and this is what I'm dealing with. That was just tracking here like once over, and that's it. So try to scrape this really loose mud off the site, but I think it's a lost cause today. Until I can bring in gravel, I think I'm just going to be making more and more mud, and this project won't get done this year if it turns into a mud hole. So I don't know if you have an auger like this or not, but if you have a mini, I highly recommend picking up an auger online. They're pretty affordable. This is a 12-inch auger. It's going to work for more outbuilding stuff. I wouldn't mind having an 8-inch auger as well at some point, but they have plenty of power on these little machines. You can reverse them if you get stuck around a root or anything, and they're great, but they are also heavy. I've taken that one off. That's about all you want to haul around. This bucket's kind of ridiculous. It's a tooth bucket. I might take the teeth off sometime just for scraping, but it might have its advantages in some aspect, but it looks funny because it's just so damn big. But you know what makes quick work with all this kind of stuff, especially if you didn't have a skid steer, you can move a lot of material with that bucket. Well, I got all the auger tailings cleaned off this site. It's down to dry dirt, which won't be dry for very long, but at least it's not 2 inches of mud. Got about a yard of dirt set aside here. It's just too muddy to work up here today. I'm gonna park this and jump onto some other projects, and I'll bring you guys back when I get time for this thing again. So some of you newer subscribers probably don't know what that is. That's my articulating dump truck I'm loading here with gravel. I built this thing from the ground up using Subaru running gear. I got a playlist I'll put down below in the description. It's a pretty fun series. I had a good time doing that. I don't have the time to dedicate to a 1.5 year long build series like that anymore. I know a lot of my subscribers want to see that, but with 2 kids, 2 jobs, and just life, I just can't dedicate that kind of time anymore. But you can go back and check out that series, especially if you've never seen it or you haven't seen it in 4 or 5 years. You might enjoy it. So I'm just using a weed burner torch here to burn the base of these posts. They're going to be direct burial. There's good, better, best ways to go about all this. This just needs to preserve it. And honestly, I'm 45. It doesn't need to last forever. It just needs to function with my lifespan. Got it charred up a little bit. This will help preserve it, and dropped it in the ground. I'm just doing this with packing it with gravel. I'm gonna try this and see how it is. I don't mind mixing cement, but I loaned my cement mixer out a few months ago, And I don't really want to mix it in a wheelbarrow because I don't have one around here. So we're just going to dry pack it with gravel. Think it'll be fine.
All in wrist. Wrist up, down.
When I was working on this, I realized I left a big heavy tamping bar at a different location, so I'll have to go back and grab that another chunk of property. But I think it should pack in pretty well. Put these on to stabilize it. If you're using concrete, it'd probably anchor it pretty well. If I was in a high wind area, I'd probably put some spikes in there, even backfill it with gravel like I did. We just don't get much wind where I'm at. I'm really protected, so I don't think the structure's gonna pick up and fly away. So nice to have some gravel up on site here because this
Oh, that's nasty.
is nasty stuff. Now, some of you may recall I trenched a water line out to my mill and garden this last summer, and it's so nice to be able to turn on water up there and have it flow. Right here, I'm pouring a bunch of water around the base of these posts to compact the 1.25 inch minus gravel to sturdy up the structure. Now, I know I'm going to hear it from the safety officers, but you know what? I'm working out of the bucket of this machine to cut off these posts. It's way more sturdy. I tried to bring a ladder up there and almost fell off of it almost instantly. The soft dirt and gravel is just too loose to having a ladder sitting on that stuff. So I'm working out of it. And yeah, maybe you don't do it around your own house. But for me, it was safer for me to work like that than to fall off of a ladder. Utilizing that Harbor Freight trailer, bringing some poles home to work on a little outbuilding here. Got these from some neighbor's property, and these should be used for a few beams and rafters. So I originally ordered this 4-inch planer blade that fits onto a chainsaw about 4 years ago. Found it was really good for stripping bark. Was going to do a review on it, but honestly, the tool is kind of sketchy. I actually ordered a toothless chainsaw blade, a little harder to find than you would think, but I just didn't feel like fully doing a review on it. If someone wants to seek it out, they can on their own. But I did find it's really nice for doing notches where these rafters sit on the beams. Just definitely a good tool for doing round notches and things, but definitely a little sketchy too. I was running on the electric chainsaw and it made it a little safer. Bringing the little R13 Ripa mini excavator out of the shed. See, I have to fold down the ROPS every time. That's another reason why I'm building this shed as high as I am, just so I can pull it in from any side and not have to worry about folding down the ROPS every time and get my bigger excavator in there. Things been rock solid around the property here. It's been super useful. One attachment I want to build this winter, though, is I want to build a boom extension where you can take the bucket off and maybe have like a 4-foot long boom that you can have a lifting hook on the end of, just for lifting. Like this log here is probably only 120 pounds, but man, it would be really nice if it actually could lift a little bit more, because lifting these beams were basically to its reach capacity, and with a 4-foot extension, it would be no problem to lift something like this high or higher. Well, it's nice to finally have that 16-foot beam up there. Pretty typical this time of year, racing the clock on the Sunday evening and try to get this last beam up before I have to go back for my work week, because in the wintertime, once I get done with work at home, it's already dark. So trying to get this last beam put up in place. I'm going to wire up some LED floodlights on this thing for just, you know, long winter evenings working on projects. I think would be beneficial. So here's a little update on the little structure. Got all the 1x4s ran across there. Got the rest of the rafters finished. Extra rafters hanging over here, cut those off. Just got to jump up here now and cut these ones off on the edge of that 1x6. Start throwing some salvage metal up onto the thing. So here's some more of that strap material my friend gave me. I'm tying that around the beams to the posts. And there's a whole stack of salvage red metal roofing right there. It's not quite long enough, but I can always scallop it. So that's the kind of metal I'm working with, just salvage stuff. It's got holes in it, cut to different lengths and widths. But I salvaged this a while back for free a few years ago and just been covering up my wood piles for my sawmill. As you can see, the roof's coming along pretty well. Well, it's a bit dark out here, but just got the last little bit of salvage metal up. Had to kind of scab in the last 3 feet of these and overlap them. Got a pretty good sized roof. I think it's 16 feet this way and about 11.5 that way. Just kind of work with the materials I had. But I got the skid steer tucked away here for the night. We got about 3 inches of rain coming this weekend, so I'm trying to get this wrapped up before it starts tomorrow. And probably gonna be start parking the side-by-side up here as well. Slowly, in the evenings after work, I just would have a little bit of time in the rain to put up 145 in each of the corners here. I'm actually going to run some cross bracing this way because I think eventually I want to put another little lean-to roof out this direction. We're going to haul up some gravel now, blow out all these leaves out of here from that tree. That thing's going to come down eventually. And bring some gravel in with skid steer. I don't think most of us realize just how many miles you put on these little skid steers. My previous gas model, I was doing some driveway work and I wanted to kind of calculate miles per hour. And it's a pretty slow machine, but I was grading around my place for about 1.25 hours doing driveway work. And for every 1.25 hours, I roughly put about a mile on the machine. So you can definitely tack them on faster than you'd think. The little excavators are stationary a lot, digging trenches and just digging into hillsides. These things, you're usually going into a gravel pile, grabbing a load of gravel, traveling around, dumping it, back scraping it, things like that. They're on the move quite often. This one I have about 20 hours on so far. I probably have 14 to 15 miles on it already. Well, got majority of the gravel spread out there. Thing works so good, only a little bit of rake work to touch up a few spots. Still got to bring probably a few more loads up here, fill in some of these low spots. That thing works really, really well. Love the capacity of the bucket, the power of the machine. Well, just like almost every single day for the last 3 weeks, it's starting to rain pretty heavy again. So I'm gonna park this thing and go get inside, work on another project. So a few days later, the sun finally decided to come out. This is like the first sunny day in at least 3 weeks. So it's nice and dry out. So I decided to get up on this roof and salvage some metal roofing. This is my friend's property. He told me I can help myself to anything inside or on this trailer here. So I decided to salvage some of the roofing for it for this shed project. This is the same property where I scored all the poles to build the entire project. Also cut a bunch of firewood over there too. It was definitely nice to get out, enjoy the sunshine, a nice fall day. Well, scored myself a whole bunch of galvanized roofing. This isn't probably going to be used for roofing. It's going to be used for like skirting below buildings and where water splashes up some of my outbuildings here. But so I decided to grab a few more Douglas fir poles and some cedar, just mainly for an addition. I want to put in a little 8x8 addition on the side of this structure eventually, and couldn't pass up the opportunity for dry firewood, especially on a sunny day like this, because probably going back into another month of gray skies and rain. Washington is brutal in the fall. Just going through some lumber. This is stuff I milled probably about a year ago on my sawmill. I'm pulling off all these braces, getting this back wall ready to start putting some of that galvanized sheeting on. Definitely would be nice because rain and wind kind of blows through the structure. So even if it's under a roof without the walls on it, stuff just kind of gets wet in there. But yeah, excited about wrapping this project up. I've always ran air shears in the past. You always have to have a compressor, and working kind of more remote without power. These are super nice. I've had these for a few years, so Harbor Freight never let me down. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. This is a big shout out to my subscribers. Thank you so much for the support of the channel. I need some support from you guys still. Last month alone, I posted 2 videos, and I think 543 subscribers only got notifications of the videos. So if you can, hit the bell icon next to my channel and put it so you can get notified, because I do a video basically every other weekend, and most of my subscribers aren't seeing these notifications anymore. Kind of a bummer, so I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Now remember, I said these look like toys, but they're not. These are razor sharp, okay? You don't pick with those or any edge of any metal. Whenever you hit a metal, you want to have gloves on. That's how the shears work. It's always kind of nice to have my little buddy up here helping me. He's always interested in seeing what's going on and checking out all the projects. So I have to say, if you've ever been interested in milling your own lumber, just save up and buy yourself a mill. They're so affordable now. This one I built from scratch for super cheap because I was totally broke at the time. I had no money. So I was able to build this thing. I've always wanted a mill, but keep in mind, I never ran a sawmill before I built this thing. By the time I got it built, it was the first time I ever ran a sawmill. They're so well worth it, and the prices have come down so much. So if you have any trees on your property, a little bit of property that you want to maybe thin a few and get some cool lumber out of it, you know, consider getting yourself a mill. They're like $3 to $5 grand now, and they're awesome. They work so good. So don't hesitate on that. You're just getting older. So if it's always been something you've been interested in, get yourself a little mill. But you got to have something like a piece of equipment like a skid steer like this or a little mini excavator, because without that, it's so hard to move the stuff around. But, you know, work in progress. Set a goal, save up, get a mill, get a little machine. You're not going to regret it. Pretty neat. Just that one log was enough to do the whole backing of the back 2 walls that I needed to cover here. I do this really rough style, rough cut board and batten. It's really just board on board, no battens. You'll see it in a little bit. Oh, fiddling with old equipment, old gas, fiddling with this old generator. It's probably hasn't been taken care of the best, but got it going. Like I said, I got no power up here yet on the mill site, but yeah, run the little air compressor, putting these up with Brad staples, and it goes super fast with this style of board on board. So this siding I've actually used on my little tiny home cabin series. I think most of my subscribers have never seen that. I think about consistently 8,000 people, my subscribers, would watch that series. But it's a pretty fun one. I'll put a link below to it. But I use the siding on it, board on board rather than board and batten. It's really rustic, really simple to use. You can use live edge, you can use sawed edge, and you almost get the whole entire log usable for siding. So it's really cool. It's very little waste, and it looks really rustic. I like it. Well, happy how that turned out. Beauty of doing board and batten with just those live edge like that is just how fast it goes up. One big board, and then the batten's just as wide as the main board. So looks good from inside and outside. I'm happy with it. Probably a majority of my subscribers have never seen this. This is my old early 90s gray market Japanese built Yanmar mini excavator. It's been sitting for a while. It's got a few things I need to do, but for the most part, it's pretty reliable. So this is the first and last gray market used piece of equipment I ever will buy. I'll do a video on that, talking about my more modern machines, the Chinese built machines compared to this Japanese built gray market excavator. I mean, it's a good machine and all, but it's got some issues, and there's some reasons why I would never buy a used gray market machine again. But that's for a future video. So it's really nice to finally have the equipment put away in this little shed like this. It's going to be really nice over the years, just because tarps blow off constantly. That little Yanmar has had the tarp blow off at so many different times. Come up to it a week later and see it's just been out in the rain completely. It's going to make the stuff last a lot longer, keep dry. We get so much rain out here in Western Washington that it's just kind of something I should have built years ago. Well, nice to get this thing under cover. Tarps keep blowing off of it. It's been sitting out way too long. Fortunately, this is one of the things got to do to it is the, you can see some hydraulic oil dripping out of here. The curl cylinder is the last seals to blow. I've done the blade cylinder and the side shift cylinder. It seems like every 15-20 hours you operate this thing, a seal blows on one of the cylinders. It's just old. That's a story about buying old gray market machines, and it's slow, but it's got pretty good digging capacity as long as you're patient, because it is slow to dig. So super nice to have all these machines finally under cover. I'm gonna do a little roof addition out here to park the side-by-side, and eventually I think this spring I'm gonna finish up painting this, rebuild the cylinders, fix a few hydraulic lines that are old, and sell it. It's a good machine, but I just don't use it much. These things are smaller, but it's super, they're super fast running these little rippas. Just a lot quicker machine, easy to get into tight spaces. This one's great, but it's just really slow. The hydraulic thumb is superior over the manual thumb of welded, but the manual thumb is pretty good. This thing has an enormous lifting capacity for a 5,500 pound machine. It's just really slow compared to modern equipment. But yeah, off camera I got that whole wall finished up. It's nice to have that thing sided in. So still got some ideas of some other little additions on here, but I'm also trying to keep the clearance as far back as I can from here, because I swing logs in through here for my mill. That's why I built that thing 7 feet out rather than 8, and 14 feet between posts rather than 16, just because I wanted as much room to swing logs in here as I can get. But I think if I do a little addition out here for the side-by-side, it's not gonna be a problem. And down at that far end down there, I may do another little stub out roof over here, as long as you can get the articulating dump truck and logs through there. So we'll see. Really happy how this shed's coming along. And it was a bargain to build. Oh, and this is all I got left from that log I milled. Just some scraps, which I'll use for other projects here. Just a little pile of scraps up here. So that one log made all the rough cut siding, and pretty happy how it turned out. Well, right on. You made it to the end. Not many people stay this far in the video, so I definitely appreciate it. If you watch this far, throw a comment down below and say, hey, Mike, watch it to the end. Until next time, take care. Bye.